Thank you. You mentioned a government shutdown could harm farmers and prevent them from accessing new loans. Help us put this into perspective for Americans. At the end of the day, what should Americans expect? Could this even lead to higher food prices, for instance?
What it leads to is a tremendous amount of stress for those farm families. Just to give you a sense of this, many farm families require off-farm income to be able to keep the farm, and oftentimes they need that loan, that marketing assistance loan, to be able to make sure that they maintain the farm. So it puts at risk the small and mid-sized farming operation in terms of their ability to get credit when they need credit, their ability to pay their bills when they need to pay their bills, the ability to make sure that they can harvest their crop. If they can't harvest the crop or they don't get the marketing assistance loan, then they're in a situation where they don't profit. And if they don't profit, they risk losing the farm. So it creates a tremendous amount of stress. For what reason? There's no reason for this shutdown. At the end of the day, we had a deal that the Senate passed with a majority of senators, a deal that passed the House with a majority of not just Democrats but also Republicans voting for it. A deal's a deal. And, to me, there's no reason for us to be even having this conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Over the weekend, the President mentioned that food safety was also at stake. So can you give us some examples of how during previous shutdowns the absence of food and environmental inspections impacted public health?
Well, I think you would want to visit with the folks at FDA. You need to understand that our food safety responsibilities are divided. The USDA has responsibility for meat, poultry, and processed eggs. FDA has responsibility for everything else. I can tell you that in terms of meat, poultry, and processed eggs, we will continue to have food inspection. But that may not necessarily be the case with the FDA. So I think you want to talk to the FDA. I'll show you how silly this is. If you order a pepperoni pizza, we're guaranteeing the safety of it because there's meat on that pizza. If you order a cheese pizza, you're looking at FDA.
So are not all food inspectors considered essential workers, just ones affiliated with meat?
Well,
and
I can't speak to what HHS does or what FDA does. That's why I think you should visit with them. But our inspectors will be on site. But here's where there is a potential problem. And that is if there is a situation and circumstance that requires lab analysis, well, no, that's a different story. So, that may impact and affect our ability to detect animal diseases as quickly as we need to, which in turn could affect the supply of food. So it's complicated, but our food inspectors will be on the job.
On the potential 50,000 furloughed workers, do you know where those workers, what programs those would be impacted on? Do you know who we're looking at?
It's across the board. It's in every county of the country. We have a presence in every county in the country. So it's going to impact and affect literally every county in the country. It's FSA offices, it's rural development offices, it's NRCS conservation employees, it's some of the Forest Service employees, it's a lot of the researchers and people who work for the Agricultural Research Service, ARS. It's administrative staff. You can have people working on the job, but if you don't have the administrative people behind it, the job doesn't get done. It's incredibly disruptive. Incredibly disruptive.
And then on another deadline in Washington, how confident are you that a new farm bill will be passed by the end of the year, or is an extension more likely?
Well, I know that I think that the chair and ranking members of both committees are working hard to get this done. I would say this, in order for it to get done, it's important for them to understand the importance of using all the tools that would be available for all of the challenges that they face. Not just the farm bill, but the budget. When you undercut and underfund the budget, as some are proposing, cutting it by as much as, in some cases, 20, 30%, you undermine the ability of any farm bill, regardless of whether it's passed or not, to be implemented. And so our challenge at USDA is to provide technical assistance and help to get them to yes. And that's what we're doing. We'll continue to work. Our hope and belief is that the farm community and rural areas need certainty and consistency. And we'll do everything we can to make sure that this thing gets passed as quickly as it can.